Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show. Peter, you. Today we're going to talk about Shuai Jiao.
Yeah,
Shuai
right.
Jiao.
Shuai Jiao.
Yeah,
I've noticed it a lot. Like every video you post, someone's
yeah,
like, "Hey, can you talk about Shuai Jiao?"
yeah.
And I only know very like on the high level. It's a Chinese, I guess, type of kung fu, but has a lot of grappling elements in it.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
grappling
it.
kung fu,
Yeah.
which I
So
like that, because a
yeah,
lot of times you see kung fu and you associate it with like the
the movie.
forms and the
Yeah, yeah.
movement. You ever see that MMA guy that goes around beating up kung fu masters?
I've seen those.
Yeah,
Yeah. The Chinese guy. Apparently,
yeah.
he got banned by the censored by the government or
Oh,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. His social score is so low, he can't get
Yeah.
on an airplane. He can't get on a train,
I
dude.
saw that video when he was
It's
talking
kinda
about that.
nuts. Yeah,
Yeah.
he really screwed himself up, because in a couple of years, he's gonna get too old, and he's not gonna be able to do fighting, and he's just gonna be like some bum, you know?
Who wants to be like that?
Where's his future going? He
Yeah.
kinda screwed himself on that, but he entertained all of us
Yeah.
for a little bit, and he
We
did
know
expose
about it.
some of this stuff. We
Yeah.
all kinda had a feeling, right? Just
Yeah.
doing form, is not gonna help you be a fighter.
Right. Well,
Sometimes you
it's
get
not to
wrapped up in
say
one
like
thing.
they're not great athletes, all this kung fu martial artists, they have great athletes that can do a lot of acrobatics and all, but
I don't know about that.
fighting is oh wow. Okay.
I'll tell you, there's
Is
several
it?
things that I gotta say, man. When I'm watching some of these videos, it's
Um,
like first and foremost, right? Even in MMA, there's weight classes. You know what I
right.
mean? So you
Yeah.
see a guy that's like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy goes against Aikido guy, and the jiu-jitsu guy outweighs the guy by 50 pounds. That's a huge advantage in itself. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, a guy challenges Kung Fu Masters. That Kung Fu Masters
Like
140
six
pounds.
65-year
Yeah,
old.
he's 65 years old. Even if that guy was doing MMA his whole life, like he's way beyond his abilities to
Right.
be able to execute some of this stuff.
Right.
That's just not fair, right? So it's like,
Right.
if you're gonna call out some martial art or whatever it is and do a challenge match, like,
At
you know
least
what I
make it
mean?
fair, yeah.
Make it at least fair, and this is the thing, right? Like, all right, get a jujitsu blue belt. Average jujitsu blue belt is mid-30s, going through a
Yeah.
divorce, right? Get that guy and be like, I'm gonna go out and prove to you jujitsu can work on anybody, and put him in a fight against LeBron James. See what happens.
Oh, man.
LeBron James will beat the hell out of that guy. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. There's no way that guy's gonna take LeBron James
Right.
down.
So so that's the kung fu side, but so what's Shui Jiao? So you did a little bit of research, right? I don't really know anything
I
about
didn't really
this.
do much research, but I Googled it and I watched
Okay.
some YouTube videos. That's just extent of this.
So
I've heard
what
about this stuff. I've heard about this.
yeah. What
Yeah.
can so what do you think about it?
All
What's your
right.
first impression?
Shuai Jiao. It's
Mhm.
essentially looks exactly like judo.
Yeah.
Similar outfit with the jacket and everything, but the sleeves are like much shorter.
Are there like a no sleeves or does it like a short sleeve kind of
They're
thing?
very, very short sleeves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It reminds me of Mongolian wrestling a little bit, but it is an actual jacket
Mhm.
sport. And
Oh, okay.
supposedly it goes back to like 3000 BC. It's like drawn
Yeah.
this in China from
Mhm.
3000 BC. So they're arguing that it's like one of the oldest grappling forms of,
Yeah,
that's what
that
they're
makes
arguing
sense.
this
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
wrestling is so intuitive for everybody,
Yeah,
right? You put
monkeys
two kids,
wrestle.
monkeys
Yeah.
wrestle. You put two 2 year olds in the room together. Your one kid will put the other kid in the headlock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw it in my daughter's 4 year old group the other day. School of the day. Kids like it was
Dogs
just like,
wrestle, and yeah, I think it's just like a
y-
animal thing,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's just
playing
natural.
around.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
cold. Let me put a jacket on. Let me grab your jacket and push you
yeah,
and pull you. Like it's
yeah,
just so normal.
right.
But yeah, the moves are very similar. The
Mhm,
goal is to take the person down. And
mhm.
I think in different regions, they have different rule sets, like any grappling
Yeah,
sport. It's very rare, like in judo, that it's a unified rule set across the globe. That's what judo makes it so spectacular. People forget,
yeah.
and
That was the biggest thing. We talked about this in our one of the earlier episodes,
yeah,
like
man,
that
it's an amazing thing.
Kano's biggest achievement is this
Y-
standardization. Yeah.
Standardization, and then, people bitch and complain about it. But could you imagine, like, the IJF goes, all right, well, no more leg grabs, or you can grip break with two hands, and everyone does it. Everyone just complies and follows and does, and then the
Yeah,
sport moves forward. And you kind of have to trust that the top people at the top are kind of doing it to
yeah,
propel judo sort of in the mainstream and all this stuff. And then people will bitch and moan about martial arts. But then you get a thing like Shuai Jiao where you go here, go there, different rule sets. They can't compete with each other. And then
yeah,
the freaking thing never grows. You know what I
right.
mean? So, you know,
So
pro judo
different
rules,
rules.
yeah,
Yeah.
different rule set, yeah.
So how are they different? Are they like do I know like Kung Fu, people associate that with, striking,
Yeah.
but does Shuai Jiao any kind of flavor of Shuai Jiao with striking, or is it just
Oh,
mostly
it's all
yeah?
grappling. It's all
Oh, it's
grappling.
all grappling. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And
Yeah.
then the one video that I saw, they're talking about the rule sets of like, hey, a lot of places, like if you touch the floor with your hand, it's over. Any part of
Mhm.
your body touches the floor, it's over
Oh, wow.
essentially. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then some European Shuai Jiao organizations made rule sets to gamify like point systems. If you touch your knee,
Ah,
it's this much. If you touch your elbow, it's this much. If you get thrown on your back, it's this much. It's
right.
kind of like Sambo, right? Sambo kind
Yeah,
of has a
yeah,
similar feel, you
yeah,
know? They have
yeah,
the sleeves, but they have like the divots in the shoulder area, so you can kind
yeah.
of physically
Grab
grab
it, yeah.
that. And then if you take them down and they go to their hands and knees, it's 1 point in Sambo.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took down the 6-time world champion with a high C. He
And
went
then
to his hands and knees, and I got
you
one
got a
point.
point? Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Alright,
And then I
alright.
got tech fall. But still, I took him down once. And then,
Yeah,
feet to back. That's 3 points, I think. And then if they go upside down and up in the air, right,
uh,
there's more. Like if you go feet to
like
back and you stay standing, then
yeah,
it's, I think, is a much bigger score. We're talking about Sambo now,
uh,
right? So Shuai Jiao, different places, different rule sets, you know?
right. So,
Yeah.
so there's that, and then so I remember I have a friend from college that did
Mm,
Shuai Jiao growing up in
yeah.
California, and then
Yeah.
he told me a little bit about it back then, and it seems like it's more popular on the West Coast, maybe because of the amount of Chinese immigrants there. But
I don't
like,
think it's
so
that
how?
popular, man. I really don't think it's
Yeah,
popular at all. And I think you need the popularity to have sort of a critical mass, right? To have that
yeah,
community base, to have like, real training and then people built around this thing, you
yeah,
know?
mhm,
And that's what Brazilian Jiu Jitsu does so well because it's so much easier on
right,
the body, softer on the body. Everyone can do Jiu Jitsu, right? Seriously.
hmm,
Not everyone can do Judo. You know what I mean?
hmm,
So now you have this many people freaking doing it,
and
And then
then
you have
they innovate,
Yep,
right? A
they
lot of
innovate, and then once you have that many people, right, there's resources, there are monetary
yeah,
resources. So you have to look at the martial arts capitalism,
much,
MAC, I like to call it, right? So now you have resources, and then you have time in the sport where the thing grows and innovates, and then
right,
flow grappling pops up, and this organization pops up, and EVI comes out, and now they're all competing for views and
yeah,
things and students, and now you have this community, and everyone who does it kind of subscribes to this, like, yeah, what
yeah.
is this thing called? The thumb
Uh,
and the pinky with the surfer
aloha,
guys. Hello, what is
aloha,
that thing with
mahalo.
jiu-jitsu
I don't
guys?
know.
I
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
They
Oh,
started doing this thing, and now they have their own language, right?
right, right.
Shuai Jiao, they don't have that. You can't go to a Shuai Jiao school in the United States, in New York, right? You can't go to Shuai Jiao and say, oh, I'm going to Pennsylvania for, something, for
Yeah,
work. Drop in a Shuai Jiao school, and it has the culture and the people, and I know what to expect. It's not like that,
right,
right?
right.
Judo, there's a little bit.
Yeah, even in the States. Yeah,
Well, we're specifically talking about the States. I'm talking like
yeah.
internationally, right? It's a completely different thing.
Oh yeah,
Huge, huge. I get guys from Germany dropping in like, hey man, French guys dropping in, hey man. I get
yeah,
guys from Africa, Cameroon the other day coming in like, oh, Sensei, I see your thing on YouTube,
right.
right? It's different.
And then
Internationally, judo is the first in terms of like population and like all this stuff, people forget, right? Because
And
we're
then that's
in,
the thing of when they drop in, they speak the language. They know all the
yeah, they know it.
technique names. They know all the rules. They know the
Dude, yeah,
etiquette. So
yeah.
you can just kind of say, "Oh yeah, come on by," you know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, no Tanya Toshi to my beginners. They're like, okay, okay,
Okay, yeah,
They didn't even speak English sometimes.
but they know Tani Otoshi.
Yeah, yeah. They get it. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Tanya the man in there.
So I guess that's why you saw most. I think when people ask these questions to you, like, how about this
Yeah.
martial, how about that martial, they probably want you to talk about like the techniques and then like
Oh,
how
yeah.
judo is better or worse than these or like whatever. But I think people
It's no
forget that it's not
comparison.
really, yeah, it's like
It's
you
not an
can't even
apples to apples thing.
compare.
Yeah.
It's gonna be if you keep doing that, you're gonna have this silly situation where there's like MMA players going to beat up old kung fu guys. It's like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. That nonsense.
pointless.
I'll tell you this though. I've seen some like Shuai Jiao guys do Taio,
Yeah,
because they're very different, very similar. Essentially, it's the
yeah,
same move, except instead of drawing them forward and turning, they
yeah,
kind of like stick out and then pull and then they go down.
yeah, yeah.
And to me, it's kind of silly, right? It's like, oh, your leg is outstretched. You're going to pull them down on top of your leg. Like, it's
Right.
kind
It's
of
like,
dangerous,
yeah.
especially if your leg is not positioned
Mhm.
properly or whatever the hell it is. And then when I see something like that, it's like, the teachings have not been refined because you don't have a lot of people and if
And
doing it.
then blowing their knees. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have enough people doing that, and you don't have enough experts that are,
Yeah.
time and tested, going around doing seminars on the internet. You look up Shuai Jiao Toshi, it's almost you don't have resources for that.
No YouTube
Judo,
videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's tons of YouTube videos and people commented on it. You already have this sort of social proof situation.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah, and then so
So,
it's refined, it's nuanced.
mm,
You know what I
I,
mean? And think about the
funny you
best
should mention.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny you should mention that because if you, I remember seeing like old pictures of Taio people, players doing Taio Toshi, and they
yeah,
used to kind of do it like how you described it in Shuai Jiao. But then I think eventually it got refined and then figured that, oh, the way you whip people around your body and then over the leg is better than like
yeah.
sticking the leg out. So I think that's why you need this critical mass so that
So
people
yeah,
can actually dedicate time to refine it.
yeah,
And yeah, so the whole comparison thing, I mean, maybe some people were looking for that, but
yeah.
it's kind of pointless. If you want to do Shai Jiao, I mean, go ahead if you can find the place to do it, you know,
Yeah. I
which is not
mean,
like, yeah.
judo hands down beats this thing, without a doubt, because yeah, I am comparing it
Yeah.
because all right, so
Made it.
look at my pedigree. Okay. I'm not saying like
Yeah.
I'm this and that, but it's like I've trained
Yeah.
judo with everybody in the world, like tons of
Yeah.
good people. I've done judo with Inoue, Anai,
Yeah.
Kripalik. I fought judo Kripalik,
Right. Right.
Zorzaliani from Jordan. I've done all these guys, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met Iliadis and he taught me his style, the way he does the
Yeah.
seragi. I met all these people. And then like my judo is a compilation of learning from all those people too. And sometimes
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
teaching stuff that I wasn't good at, but I learned
Yeah.
from this guy or that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I have a good communication skills because I've done this is my whole career is teaching
Yeah.
judo.
Yeah.
Right? And now all of a sudden you get a guy who's good at Shuai Jiao, who's been doing it for 10 years or 20 years, who's a
Yeah.
champion in air quotes, right?
Yeah.
Now, does he have the communication skills to be able to relay that information?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have exposure to that many different Taitoshis that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How many people have seen people blow their knees out doing this Taito as well? I've seen like
Right.
4 knees and ACLs torn from bad
From
Taitos.
Toyota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen them. I know people who've had them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's like my understanding of Taio is so much greater
Yeah.
than, I probably shouldn't say shit like this. I'm like listening to myself like, wow, I sound like an arrogant asshole.
Well,
know?
I think it's just kind of like Shui Jiao. It could be. I think the big thing is that in
Yeah.
order to grow the sport, you need the critical mass, and then all this like
Yeah.
people sometimes complain about the IJF and how they change
Yeah.
the rules and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's kind of underscores how effective they can be. This kind
Yeah.
of central organization.
It's
You
this
know.
whole thing of like, martial arts versus sport. Oh, they're watering it down, making it into a sport. Yeah. If you make it into a sport, more people will do it, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, what about a guy who has a pocket full of sand that's going to throw it into their eyes? Or what if he has pepper spray? Or what if he has a knife? Then it's not a martial art. Then we're not even talking about the same martial art anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? Or we're talking about the most deadliest training system, the best martial
mythical
arts,
street.
mythical streets, man. Like that. Okay, go find a school that trains that.
Yeah.
Go find one of that and go do that. Or would you rather do a sport that makes you stronger, better, faster, more athletic, all those things, more confident? You're
Mhm.
jacked and athletic. Like no one's gonna mess with you first and foremost because they look at you. That's the
Yeah.
first thing they look at you. Now you're some nerd on the internet, like, oh, this is a sport watered down, blah blah blah. Like that, somebody gonna look at you and mug you. I could make an argument like go lift weights instead then.
Yeah.
And at least make it look like, a little bit
Yeah.
intimidating. That's probably the best bang for your buck, instead of arguing with
yeah.
people on the internet saying Shuai Jiao's title is more superior.
Yeah.
Like, because judo is so watered down, so much more. Look at this sort of stuff.
Yeah, we heard that all the time. So, yeah, well,
That's Shuai
anything
Jiao
else
for
you
you.
found out Shui Jiao? So, other than like,
I deep
different
dove
roles?
into
Yeah.
Mongolian wrestling,
you actually, Shui Jiao led you back into the,
Bach wrestling.
yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things, dude.
Yeah.
Bach wrestling. And you want to know what's so cool about Bach wrestling? They have critical mass within the country of Mongolia.
right.
So they have this thing called Naidam. It's like their
Yeah.
annual games, and they
Yeah.
take the 3 most manliest sports from Mongolia. I'm not saying this right. I don't say manly or Right?
From
People
the
would be
Mongolian perspective, like their
Mongolian percent, yeah, because I don't want to be
standard. Yeah.
put in the toxic masculinity category. But they have 3 main sports. Do you know what they are?
Let me guess. So Bach, obviously, wrestling and
Wrestling.
horse riding,
Yep.
and archery.
Horsemanship. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's all they do.
Oh
They
yeah.
compete in those 3 events. The national event. And then all you do is you just wrestle. No weight
hmm
classes, no age, no time, no nothing. Everyone just gets in there and starts wrestling, and there's 1,000 people doing it. And
Uh,
every round, winners go here, losers go there
uh,
until you get a champion. It's like 10 rounds of it.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Like a
But there's a
whole
lot of people
nation.
doing
Yeah.
it, a lot of people training it. So now they have the population to support their skills actually getting better.
hmm Right.
Right. And then the rules essentially, I mean, different region, different rules, but the main rule is like your hands and feet can touch.
The Naidan rule, I guess.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
knees, elbows, back, anything like that, you can't touch.
can't
But you can
tou-
put your hands down.
Oh,
Right.
oh, you can't. Okay.
Yeah. And I love that rule because it's like, oh, if I drop it on a single, then the person could put their hand down and try to get back
Yeah.
up, or like fight the hands off, put their hands down. Right. That's why people try to lift, people try to
Yeah.
throw, to get their hips touched, whatever it is. And wow, it is such a cool sport, dude. And it's amazing because those people parlay those skills into sumo.
It's small.
A lot of the grand champions in sumo in Japan are Mongolian, right?
A lot of
Freestyle
judo.
wrestling circuit,
Yeah.
Greco-Roman wrestling circuit, right? Mongolians are good at that. And judo, like you just said.
Yeah. So then maybe China could use Shuai Jiao, kind of like increase their popularity, kind of does what Mongolia did with Bach, and then try to funnel those talents into other
Potentially.
grappling martial arts.
Yeah.
That could be a way.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I bet you Mongolian wrestling, more people practice that in Mongolia per capita than
Yeah.
China or Shuai Jiao.
Yeah.
And notice I said per capita. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very careful.
China has so many people.
Yeah, so many people. They have like 8 trillion people.
Fact check that.
But yeah, so this is the thing. Now there's that critical mass, right, per
Yeah.
capita. And then there's an avenue to gain money, right? They even
Yeah.
say in Bach, it's like people who do Bach, right? It elevates their spirit and their fortunes by competing in this night out.
Mm.
So like
Mm.
there's a path to success there. And then it's not just being a grand champion. Once you're a grand champion in Bach, you're a grand champion forever, right? And then once you get to that, you can parlay that into other money-making grappling things, right? And then, Mongolia isn't a first world country like the United States or Japan. You know what I mean?
Right.
So whatever money they make overseas, they're competing in these things, like it's pretty big money for them.
Right. Right.
There's time, money, all these resources allocated in this sport. It's concentrated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? A lot of people do it in that country. So that is like a legit, But then if someone would ask me like, oh, Mongolian wrestling, I'm going to do that in the United States. I'm like, there's no one here to do it with.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the thing. Yeah. Who's gonna?
Oh,
I don't even know where you will get those jackets.
You won't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Exactly.
cool. The sport's cool, and then there's all these nuanced things. Like, how are you gonna learn? I would love to go to Mongolia and just wrestle and learn. Like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna do that with like the language barrier and all this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Shuai Jiao, what do you think? And most people, what do you think? Like, it's pretty cool, and I'm sure there's people
Yeah.
who are experts at it. There's
Yeah.
great techniques in it, but I think it's refined and available here in the United States to do to a level where you'll get the most bang
Yeah.
for your buck. No,
No.
I really don't think so. Sambo's more and more popular now.
Right.
And all these different grappling rule sets, they have their own place.
hmm
But at the end of the day, it's I mean, look at wrestling, dude. Wrestling's so popular in the United States. Level here is so high.
Yeah.
You make it out of the country, you could medal in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing. Like you'd be better off trying to practice more popular grappling arts in the States.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
instead of trying to like somehow find your edge by doing something obscure.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
so
Too,
wrestling, judo, BJJ,
No.
But Shuai Jiao is still cool. I mean, on its own, right? Like it's a
I saw this
cool
video
story.
on YouTube. You guys see YouTube, and it's like the coolest Shuai Jiao match of all time. I'm like watching. I'm like, Zentariat match was so much cooler. You get like the Kyrgyzstan guys and the Kazakhstan guys. There's Smetov fighting somebody. I forgot who the other guy was. But like that match is like wow. What a
yeah.
It doesn't
Oh,
compare.
they're like kind of flipping out of throws and stuff.
Yeah, because when there's money involved, right? When
Yeah.
there's, pro martial arts capitalism, MAC, we'll coin that. Right? When there's money involved, it's going to draw certain people, right? Certain athletic types. If there's no money in it, in the US, there's no money in it, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Doing judo full
It's
time.
athletic types who can dedicate their full time
Yes,
to the
yeah.
art. Yeah.
BJJ,
Yeah.
in the US, there's no money in it, really. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Unless you're at the very, 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 very top.
Very
And
top. Yeah. BJJ is
so
getting better, it seems
a little
like.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. With the
Yeah.
no gi stuff, there's more
Yes.
money. So people who do it for full time, and then you can kind of see the
Yeah.
exponential growth in the
Yes.
techniques. Yeah.
There's at least a dream.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe, if I do this at a young age, if I keep at it long enough, I could be like, Gordon
Yeah.
Ryan or something like this.
Yeah.
And there's at least
Right.
that dream, right?
Yeah.
But then you look judo internationally, you look at Teddy Riner, who's, the national hero.
Superstar. Yeah.
Yeah, different level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they have the same level in Shuai Jiao. And just Googling it. Maybe I'm ignorant too, because I'm looking at American YouTube,
Yeah.
right? Maybe there's
Maybe you
a
have to-
YouTube
yeah.
version of China, and
Yeah.
with Shuai Jiao is very popular, and maybe it's something
Right.
I don't see because of communist restrictions and
Yeah.
such. So maybe I
Yeah,
wouldn't really listen to me too much about Shuai Jiao because I don't know anything about it really. I
Yeah.
literally Googled it and watched videos, probably about 10 minutes prior to
This is-
Peter coming
yeah.
out today. So it really is not my area of expertise. I have
think
my
this
biases.
is yeah.
I had a lot of
This is more
biases.
interesting. I think as I'm probably gonna title this like our
Yeah.
first impression on Shuai Jiao.
Okay.
You know,
And that's
'cause,
good. That's
something
fair.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it we have some grappling experience. Shintaro a lot more than me, but so we can kind of talk about in general how we feel about it.
No.
This is how we feel about it, but
Yeah.
if you guys have more information
Yes.
for us about Shuai Jiao, you
Yeah.
guys can send it along, and then like on
You know what
one
we'll
good
do?
way to do it.
We'll
Yeah.
do this.
Well,
If we have 100 new patrons on Patreon, you can
Uh-huh.
find that on shintarogashi.com. Peter will compete in the Shuai Jiao National Championships in the United States.
what? That's where is that even? I don't even know the rules. Okay,
Yeah.
really? Okay, if we get to 100, yeah,
Yeah.
you guys can.
It's probably they'd probably do it in a very Chinatown or something somewhere.
Yeah, with California maybe.
Yeah.
or New
Do
York.
they have a heavy Chinese population
In where?
in California?
Yeah, yeah,
No.
a lot. Yeah, there's a China. The Bruce Lee lived in Chinatown in San Francisco.
Really? Right.
Yeah.
Peter will travel to the Shuai Jiao
Oh my
National
God.
Championships. Okay. Let's do it, and then we'll sponsor him.
Whoa.
The podcast will sponsor him. The Patreons will sponsor him. We'll live stream it. It'll be
Oh my
awesome.
God. I haven't committed to anything, but
If you lose first round,
uh-huh.
we're ending the show. It's no more podcast.
That's a lot. I mean, there's a significant chance that will happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so one thing you could do is, support us on Patreon and actually send us some Shuai Jiao videos,
Yeah.
and like
Peter
some
will
info, and
compete
then
at the
let-
Shuai Jiao Nationals next year.
Oh my God, no, that's Shintaro saying it.
No, let me just Google it really quickly. Okay, ready? Shuai Jiao Nationals USA.
I'm sure there is one.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. What is it? Oh, 3 rounds. Each minute is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. What? That's a lot. Well, I'm
Wow,
gonna have
that's
to-
like a,
You have to train for this, Peter.
I know. 3 rounds of 2.5 minutes.
Oh, there's a Shuai Jiao World Cup.
Where is it?
Oh, I know this guy, Lavelle Marshall. He fought in this thing. His girlfriend used to come to the dojo.
Oh, I remember him. I remember her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was her?
She-
Can't remember her
she-
name.
I
They
think,
actually
yeah, she-
moved to China to train this thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Why did they move to China to train Shuai Jiao?
Because there's no
Because there's no Shuai Jiao here.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps it up. Right. We got
Yeah.
we got that idea.
Yeah. It's I'll think about competing in Shuai Jiao.
Shuai Jiao. Wow. Shuai
Shuai
Jiao. What is
Jiao?
that? Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Maybe there are a lot of people doing this. Interesting.
What are you seeing right now?
Master Ron Statler's Chinese Wushu Research Institute.
Oh,
Boca Raton Kung Fu and Tai Chi. Center for the Cultural Arts, Chinese Wushu Research Institute. Interesting.
what is you gotta share it with us. What are you reading? Yeah.
About shuaijiao.org/Team USA.
Oh, the Team USA.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture of Team USA. Peter is coming for everyone. Yeah, all right, you know what? I'm gonna even go a little bit further than that. Peter will compete in the open division
In Shuai
in Shuai Jiao.
Jiao. Crushed.
He's gonna show up in a judo gi too.
Oh my god, it's like a
Yeah.
dojo break-in.
And then
Yeah.
he's gonna show up, and then he's gonna also be wearing a red belt.
Who's gonna give me that red belt?
And then he's also gonna
Yeah.
have a little patch on the belt,
Mhm.
like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does, to signify that he's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well. He's gonna
okay.
award himself this, and then walk in.
So yeah, so legitimize myself.
I hope I don't come off like I'm making fun of people. I don't want to.
No, I think we actually like Shintaro mentioned briefly, we've had some people involved in Shuai Jiao come through.
Yeah. I gotta say,
when-
if you're a grappler, man, you're my people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I had a
I
guy-
feel that way.
Recognized my ear the other day. Went to get
Oh,
ramen.
how good too. I'm so
Yeah.
jealous of your ears, man.
Yeah, he literally comes up to me at a restaurant in front of my daughter. Getting
Yeah.
ramen. I see him at the gym actually at the
Yeah.
Equinox, and then he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I know you from the gym." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He goes, "Dude,
Sick ears.
you must have been a great wrestler." That's what he said. to
Uh-huh.
me. I'm like, "Well, I dabble in it, grappling on it." He's like, "Yeah, you got the ears, man. Yeah, best." Yeah.
You know what? This very also we're going on a tangent, but after this we'll finish. But there's a new show called Physical 100 on Netflix. I told you about this,
Yeah.
right? Basically, it's a Korean show where they just gather 100
Yeah.
athletes and they're gonna compete in these odd physical competitions, and they're trying to pick the winner. Squid Game
Yeah,
style, right? And my wife and I watching, and I'm like, dude, I bet a grappler would win this. A grappler. And I'm
What weight
looking all
class?
these years. No weight class, man. It's like powerlifters. They're like female wrestlers.
It's not
like,
fair, dude. I saw one clip from it. It was like they're hanging off a bar, and it's like the
Oh yeah,
heavier
that was
you
the
are,
first one.
yeah,
Yeah.
the more
So
disadvantaged you are, dude. I'd be the
Yeah.
first to fall into the pool. Dude, my shoulders hurt. Like I'm heavy. Like
So
like,
the
not fair.
gymnast, and then the rock climber, like ice climber, they did well, but you just watch. But then I'm like,
No,
what?
you know what?
Ultimately,
I have an issue with these things. I have an issue with these things, right? They're like, well, the best athletes in the world, Ninja Warrior, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
they get a 120-pound guy who rock climbing, like hanging
Yeah.
off stuff and winning.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's put that guy against the wrestler and make
Oh
them
yeah,
wrestle.
good. Yeah.
Like, why
Of
does
course,
the
yeah.
wrestler have to compete in that person's world of like hanging off a freaking ledge?
But they're different events. So you'll see that the next event is pretty advantageous for wrestlers.
Like what? Tell me that.
I don't want to spoil it. You go watch it, man. Yeah, I want your unbiased opinion.
Will I do well in that second one?
Oh yeah, in the second one you'll do well. Yeah, dude, you gotta. I was thinking like, oh, dude, like these guys like suck at wrestling.
Take the little guy down and then hold him down. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Just
I
watch
can't wait
it.
to watch it. I can't wait to watch it. Akiyama's in it. He's a
Yeah, man. Akiyama
Japanese-
Yoshihiro. Yeah,
he's a
Korean-
Korean judoka.
Yeah,
Now he does
it's
MMA.
like- yeah,
He
he
is
still
jacked.
fights. He's jacked. He still fights. He's in his 40s. Another tangent. We gotta stop going on tangent. But
Yeah.
you know who's coming back?
Who?
Won-hee Lee. He's gonna compete again. He's 42 or
what?
something. He wants to win the gold in Paris, dude.
Good for him, man. Good
Yeah.
for him. Seriously. Good
He
for
came
him.
back. He's like,
I wonder
I
if he's
just-
training this whole time.
I mean, he's been coaching the women's team, and then he teaches at Yongin,
Yeah,
but
wow.
he's
Oh, I
like,
love it.
you know what? The best way to show these youngins how to do it is to compete against them. And he
Didn't
said
he
he'd
go
come
for
back.
Yoga Tomonage and then last Olympics that he came back at?
No,
That's the one? That's a different guy.
no. So he won in Athens, and he lost to Wang Gichun at the qualifiers, and then he retired. He was so mad about it.
Didn't
I
he
guess.
come back for a thing?
No. I don't think he did.
Sure about
But
that?
then Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Well, I'm pretty sure because I'm a huge fan of his. But
Yeah.
anyway, so guys, all
Nice.
right, this we kind of went off of different tangents, but Shuai Jiao, great grappling hard, probably hard to do in America because there's not enough people doing it. But if you want to do it, just go ahead. But you might get, it might be better served by doing a more popular grappling art like wrestling, judo, and BJJ.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
messed up.
Well, if you it's if it's your interest, yeah, go ahead, do it. But like if you wanna really just work out, it's just hard to find it,
It's cool. Let's just say it's cool.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But if again, we don't know much about it. If you guys want to tell us about it, send us some stuff. The best way to do is support us on Patreon and join our Discord server and
Yeah.
then send us some videos. We'll
Yeah.
watch it and talk about it. Maybe after learning more, we'll do another episode.
And Peter
Yeah.
will compete at national.
Oh my
This year.
Oh my god. In open division.
An open division, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks for listening, guys, and
Yep.
we'll see you guys in the next episode.